The presidential aspirant David Maraga escapes death in a whisker. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where you get news updates as they break, and kindly, if it's your first time here, consider subscribing as a way of supporting us and also helping us to grow this platform. Now, a convoy carrying former Chief Justice David Maraga was forced to retreat Tuesday morning after students near Tharaka University barricaded a key road and hurled stones at the vehicles, triggering security concerns and major traffic disruptions in Tharaka County. The confrontation, which unfolded along the Nkondi-Marimanti route, has raised fresh questions about students' unrest, political tensions, and the security planning for high-profile visits in the region. Security officers accompanying David Maraga quickly diverted the convoy to avoid escalation. Although no injuries were reported, the dramatic incident left motorists stranded for hours and sparked an urgent response from local authorities and university management. Eyewitness accounts indicated the disruption began early in the morning when a group believed to be students from Tharaka University assembled along the busy roadway. Witnesses reported the group placed logs and stones across the highway, effectively halting the traffic. And when Maraga's convoy approached, some protesters reportedly began throwing stones while others shouted slogans and waved placards. The situation quickly deteriorated, forcing the security team to prioritize the safety of the former Chief Justice and the presidential aspirant in Kenya and other road users. Motorists caught in the gridlock described scenes of confusion and fear as vehicles scrambled to reverse or seek alternative routes. The standoff underscored how quickly localized protests can spiral into broader public safety concerns. Officials familiar with the incident said that the security detail made a rapid risk assessing and chose to withdraw rather than confront the protesters. The convoy was rerouted away from the barricaded stretch to prevent injuries or property damage. Security experts noted that such decisions are typically guided by strict protocols prioritizing de-escalation, especially when crowds begin throwing stones and objects. In this case, the quick diversion likely prevented a more serious confrontation, and local police later moved into the area to restore order and clear the obstruction, but by then traffic had already backed up for several kilometers. Authorities and university officials have yet to establish a single confirmed motive for the protest. Initial accounts suggest the demonstration may have been driven by a mix of grievances. Some students reportedly claimed they were protesting broader government inaction on local development and youth unemployment. Others were said to oppose Maraga's visit to the region, though no unified message has emerged. Sources within the university administration indicated the gathering may have been spontaneous rather than carefully organized. If confirmed, that could reflect a pattern seen in several recent campus protests across the country, where localized frustrations quickly erupt into public demonstrations. In a brief statement issued after the incident, Maraga's team emphasized respect for the constitutional right to protest while strongly condemning the use of violence. The statement stressed that road blockage and stone throwing endanger lives and undermine constructive engagement. It reaffirmed the former Chief Justice's commitment to peaceful community dialogue. Political observers say the measured tone of the response appeared designed to avoid inflaming tensions further while still asserting the need for public order. Following the disruption, local administrators deployed additional police officers to the area to prevent further unrest. Authorities urged residents and students to remain calm and avoid action that could escalate the situation. University officials also confirmed the internal investigation had begun. They indicated disciplinary measures would follow if any student is found to have organized or led the violent actions. The rapid institutional response response reflects growing sensitivity around campus unrest, particularly when it intersects with the national political figures. Analysts say the Tharaka Nithi incident cannot be viewed in isolation. Across Kenya, student and youth protests have increasingly been linked to concerns about unemployment, economic pressure, and perceived political marginalization. In many regions, universities have become focal points for broader social frustrations. When high-profile leaders visit such areas, tensions can surface quickly, especially if local grievances feel unaddressed. While it remains unclear whether the Tharaka protests were politically motivated, the episode highlights the volatile mix of youth expectations and national politics. The disruption has also prompted quiet questions within security circles about advanced planning for visits for prominent public figures. Typically, security teams conduct route assessment and community liaison ahead of such movements. The fact that protesters were able to erect roadblocks suggests either the protests developed very rapidly or intelligence on local tensions was limited. Security professionals know that Kenya has generally improved VIP movement protocols over the years, but spontaneous protests remain one of the most difficult threats to predict and manage. This is not the first time visiting leaders have encountered resistance from youth groups in parts of Tharaka Nithi County. Over the past decade, several political and government figures have faced protests during regional tours, and such incidents often reflect deeper local grievances rather than personal opposition to the visiting figure. In many cases, youth groups use high-profile visits to amplify demands they feel have been ignored. The Maraga Convoy incident appears to fit within the broader pattern, though investigators are still working to determine the specific triggers. The episode is also likely to renew focus on relations between universities and surrounding communities, communities, and institutions such as Tharaka University sit on the intersection of local economic expectation and the national education policy. And when tensions rise, campuses can quickly become flashpoints for wider dissatisfaction. University management teams across the country have increasingly invested in early warning systems and student engagement forums to prevent such flare-ups. Whether Tharaka University had prior warning signs remain part of the ongoing inquiry. Authorities have indicated that Maraga's visit to the region will be rescheduled once security assessments are complete, and meanwhile investigations by both police and university officials are expected to establish responsibility for the road blockage and stone throwing. The coming days will likely determine whether the incident remains an isolated disturbance or becomes part of the wider pattern of student mobilization. Political actors will also be watching closely, given the sensitivity surrounding public order and youth sentiment ahead of the future electoral cycles. The stoning of David Maraga's convoy near Tharaka Nithi University is more than a localized disruption. It exposes underlying tensions among young people, highlights the challenges of managing spontaneous protests, and also underscores the fragile balance between the right to demonstrate and the need for public safety. If youth frustrations continue to build without effective channels for dialogue, similar flashpoints could emerge elsewhere. And for security planners, the incident is a reminder that even routine movements by prominent figures can quickly become high-risk events. For policymakers, the episode signals the urgency of addressing unemployment, regional development concerns, and student engagement before discontent hardens into recurring unrest. Ultimately, what happened on the Nkondi Marimanti Road offers an early warning. Beneath the surface, calm in many parts of the country, pressures among young citizens are rising, and how leaders respond may shape the stability of the political environment in years ahead. That is all for today from Kenya Lens Media, where we bring you news updates as they break. And kindly, if you are new here, consider subscribing as a way of supporting us and grow this platform.